Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to be talking about estate planning with one of the most respected lawyers in Collin County. Her journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
This is an important show because it's something that all families should be talking about, but unfortunately, people don't like to talk about death. They don't like to talk about estate planning, and it's such a necessary conversation to have. Somebody who knows that very well is my next guest, Kayla Smith Wood. She is with Allen, Texas Attorneys. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Well, you and I have a close mutual friend, Kimberly Woodard, who does a show here, and I just found out that you guys went to school together.
Yeah, we've known each other since 1986. We went to middle school, high school together, and then went our separate ways in college. But every time we came back, we've still remained friends. She's my daughter's godmother, so I know her very well, and I appreciate the introduction.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And deep roots in Plano. I mean.
Yes. Moved there in 1986. I was born in Dallas, but my dad worked for an oil company, so we moved around a lot, lived all over the world, and then came back and settled here, and then, went to UT and went to Texas Tech for law school, so yeah.
And you and I got reconnected. I know we belong to the same country club, but we got reconnected through Kimberly's show. We've got a little clip from Kimberly's show. Let's go ahead and roll that while we're talking.
Okay.
And on this show, I watched the whole show. You did a great job kind of breaking down all the, frequently asked questions.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Hopefully I made it, a little more relatable, right?
Absolutely. But I want people to get to know the real you and not the lawyer you. So let's spend a little time talking about, why did you decide to go into estate planning law?
All right. Well, basically, when I was in law school, I did a lot of practice things like moot court, mock trial. And mock trial was kind of the one that stuck. It was the one I ended up being on a national team for. And so litigation was the next step from there. So I started out litigating and did that for about 5 years. And then when I had babies, it just wasn't as conducive to a lifestyle with kiddos, because if you're in the middle of trial or a deposition or mediation, you can't just stop in the middle of it and say, hey, I've got to go pick up my kids now from school. So it's all about who you know, which I know you're in the news world, so you know this. It's all about connections, but a really good friend of mine, her sister had a law firm in Allen, and they had a need, and I wanted to work part-time so that I was able to take care of my daughter in the morning and drop her off at school and then pick her up in the afternoons. So it was just a great fit. And estate planning really fits into that, and it's great because I get to help so many clients in the neighborhood. It truly is a community.
And that has to be rewarding. We were talking before the show about some of your favorite clients, and I know one, you can't mention his name, but why don't you share that story?
Okay, sure. So basically, I had a client who came in, and he owns some pretty attractive property and lots of acreage, and it's a very developing area in the Collin County, and so he knew he was going to be approached most likely about, the county wanting to take some of it for some highways. And he really wanted to remain anonymous. And so we helped him set up a trust. I ended up being his temporary trustee, and it was great because, we kept him anonymous. He's still anonymous, and it's awesome because the county couldn't really track him down and everything, so he was able to protect that. Plus, he really wanted to protect his daughter from getting the countless calls, telemarketing and random, cold calling of, can we buy your property? Can we buy your property? Sure. So it was really nice to be able to help him and help his daughter and maintain that anonymity. I've also got a veteran who's a client, and I really liked helping him because he's an older gentleman, served our country, and didn't have a lot of assets, but wanted to leave them to his niece and his nephew. And so that, feel good stories like that, where you get to help the community. And so. It's great.
And you're an outgoing people person, and
you're sweet.
that probably serves you well because in a way you're a therapist, right? I mean, you're
Absolutely.
dealing with really important
Oh,
matters.
100%. I mean, they call you an attorney and a counselor at law for a reason. You are absolutely helping people. And sometimes it's just nice to be an ear for people to talk. And I know you're saying, oh, well, she sure talks a lot, and I tend to interrupt. But I really do listen, and I try to take into account what people are telling me and what their needs are, and so that I can help them, hopefully set up their estate so that it goes the way they want and not the way the state would have it be should they not have an estate planning plan. So, yeah.
And you have a really cool firm. We're going to show a picture from the homepage, and I want you to brag about your dream team.
Oh, okay. Yes, I love my dream team. Okay, so the woman that's sitting with the grayish hair, that is Carolyn Northcutt, and she's fabulous. She started the firm 25 years ago. She is amazing. She knows everything about every kind of law, I swear. That's why we practice so many different types of law, is because she started it all. So she's great. Elizabeth Dean to her right in the hot pink shirt is actually my friend's sister. That's how I got the connection to the position. And she is an incredible litigator, detail-oriented. Doesn't miss anything. She's OCD, which in a good way. So she's fabulous. And then John Schulmeister, he is very well known in Allen. He actually played baseball there and then went on to play baseball in college up in Sherman for Austin College. And he does our criminal work, our probate work. And so he's great. He does a little bit of estate planning too. And then Marisa Bailius is on the far right in the green, and she does all of our family law, and she is just someone who is going to be on your side. Family law is hard. I don't know how you do it, but she is someone who's going to be there for her clients, and she takes calls on the weekends. They have her cell phone number. Sure. And we actually have one more attorney who's not pictured, and it's Harlan Dean. And Harlan has 35 years of business experience, and he does all kinds of corporation LLCs and any kind of business entity that you need to set up. He does that.
Well, it seems like all of your practices kind of complement each other.
They do, absolutely. Because when you get a divorce, you probably need to redo your estate planning so that it doesn't go to your ex. And then, when you do your estate planning, then at some point someone might pass away and you need probate work. So yeah, we do a little bit of everything. We really do. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've got some video from our video library that we're going to roll right now, because I mentioned off the top of the show that, death is something that we don't like to talk about, but it's important. At what point in a person's life do you recommend that they start looking at estate planning?
Any time, the sooner the better. Believe it or not, my 19-year-old, who is a freshman in college, has an estate quote plan. A couple of things that I did for him, we did a medical power of attorney, because the minute that you turn 18, your parents can no longer make medical decisions for you unless they've granted you permission. So that was huge, because I actually had a good friend whose daughter was at Arkansas, and during the pandemic, she wasn't able to be spoken to even by the doctors because there wasn't a HIPAA release. And HIPAA was enacted 95, 96 for our protection and our privacy. But unfortunately, now that your child is an adult, they can't, doctors can't talk to you. So that was important. My son also has just a regular financial power of attorney. And then he also has what's called a FERPA. And that basically allows the college to talk to me. Because if mama is paying for college, mama is going to talk to the college if I need to. But no, in all seriousness, I had a friend whose sister had some medical needs and needed to leave school, and she needed someone to be able to talk to the school. So it was SMU. As a matter of fact, here, your wife's alma mater. Yes. Sure. So, she needed to talk to the school for her so that she could maintain her scholarships and her internships and take that medical leave of absence. And if you can't do that for your kiddo because you don't have any papers in place to be able to talk to the school, that's huge. But it's never too late either. So, some people, I've had a woman who was on her deathbed. She was literally a month away from dying and said, I've got to get everything in order. So it's never too early. It's never too late. I don't care if you don't have very much. I don't care if you have millions. Just get something in place.
Let's talk about wills. When should you start looking at doing a will, and how often should you revisit the will just to make sure everything is as you expect?
Exactly. Well, so that's an interesting point. Some people think, well, I don't need to have a will. I don't have any assets. Well, what if you're in your 20s and you own a home? What if you are, my son's really good friend from high school is 19. He didn't go to college. He started his own business. He's doing very well. Shout out to Jack Campbell. But anyway, so he needs a will most likely because he's got a tractor trailer. He's got tens of thousands of dollars worth of mowers and edgers and weeders and, all the things that he needs. He should probably have a will in place. He was so successful first year out, he's already bought himself a boat. So, he's 19 and probably needs a will. Now, my 19-year-old probably doesn't. He doesn't have a whole lot of assets, but he did need those important papers in place. So, that, but then if you've got someone in their mid-20s, they're a young adult, they've just bought their first home, they might want to either have a will in place or possibly some kind of a deed that we could file for them so that they're able to get that on file with the property records so it can transfer how they want. Because if you don't have those, otherwise Texas gets to decide how your assets are distributed.
Absolutely. And we've seen some very famous celebrities pass without a will, and that's kind of shocking. You would think that they have some of the best advice going.
Exactly. And they may have gotten the advice, but they thought, I don't need it right now, or I'll get around to that. Just the sooner the better, even if it's something simple, just to have something in place. I know you also asked about how often you should update it. Obviously, if you have kiddos, and you didn't have kids when you first wrote your will, that would be a good time. Or if your kids have aged out, they no longer need potentially a guardian. They might be 18, 19. If you have a special needs kiddo, that's in my instance. My daughter is 14 and a half, but will probably need some kind of assistance throughout her life. And even if you've got aging parents, I'm kind of in this sandwich age right now where I still have kiddos at home, but then I've got my mom who's in her 70s. So, I was talking to my mom about helping her finish her taxes on the way here. So, you've got that sandwich situation. So there really is no wrong time to do it. And there's not really a wrong time to update it. Obviously, if some of your people that you've designated as your agents, if they pass, that would be a good time to update it. Or if they're at such an age that they've become incapacitated, then you might want to update it. But it's not something that has to be updated that often, just kind of major life-changing moments. Yeah.
Well, I can see why you're so successful.
You're so sweet.
If somebody is watching this right now and they want to contact you, is there kind of an exploratory discussion to figure out if this is a good fit?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we do consults all the time, and what the great thing is about our fee is that if you pay our consult fee for a 30-minute to an hour-long session, that consult fee can be applied towards your retainer and hiring us if we do the work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so if someone pays $150, $300 and they end up hiring us, that $150, $300 can be applied towards any work we do for them in the future.
Outstanding.
Yeah, so,
You've been an amazing guest.
thank you.
Thank you
You're
for
so
coming on the
sweet.
show. All right, we're going to end with her website, which is very easy to remember, AllenTexasAttorneys.com, the great Kayla Smith Wood. Thank you for coming on the show.
All right, thanks so much for having me, Jeff.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.